It all started with a simple, mysterious text. Are you ready to uncover the truth? But what Emily didn't know was that this truth would drag her into a terrifying world beyond comprehension. The night was eerily quiet as Emily received the cryptic message. Are you ready to uncover the truth? It said. Her pulse quickened. Who sent this? She thought of ignoring it, but curiosity pulled her in. The message included an address, and though she had no reason to trust it, something inside her urged her to go. The thought of uncovering something unknown made her mind race, so she grabbed her coat and stepped out into the chilly night. The street was deserted as she walked toward the house. The only sounds were the crunch of gravel beneath her boots and the whisper of the wind. The house loomed ahead like an ancient relic, dark windows, overgrown ivy, and a creaking gate. As she approached, the gate opened on its own. The hairs on the back of her neck stood up, but she couldn't turn back now. Emily stepped inside, the door creaking as it opened by itself. The air smelled stale, the house seemingly frozen in time. A chill crept up her spine as she moved through the dark hallway, her heartbeat in her ears. She glanced at her phone, hoping for some sort of clue, and another message appeared. Look in the attic. Without a second thought, Emily headed for the stairs. As she ascended, each step creaked under her weight. The attic door was slightly ajar, waiting for her. Inside, the space was dimly lit by a flickering lamp. Dust particles floated in the air, and the room smelled of decay. Then, she saw it, a cracked mirror, standing alone against the far wall. A strange unease settled over her. The mirror seemed to pulse with some energy that she couldn't explain. She reached out to touch it, and a jolt of cold rushed through her arm. The reflection staring back at her was wrong. It wasn't her own face, no, it was a man's face. His eyes were hollow, his smile twisted, and when she stared longer, he blinked. Her breath caught in her throat. The reflection's eyes followed her every move. She stepped back in shock, but the door to the attic slammed shut behind her. Panic surged through her as shadows began to move in the corners of the room, closing in on her. A low growl vibrated through the floor, and she turned to see the darkness taking form. As she tried to scream, the mirror cracked into pieces. The man's laughter echoed around her, filling the room. You shouldn't have come, his voice whispered from all around her. Emily's legs gave way beneath her, and she collapsed to the floor as the shadows closed in. Her heart raced in terror. But then, as suddenly as it had started, everything stopped. The laughter, the shadows, they vanished. Emily opened her eyes. She was back in her car, parked on the side of the road, the house nowhere to be seen. She breathed heavily, trying to calm her racing heart. The mirror, the reflection, had to have been a hallucination, right? But then her phone buzzed again. A new message lit up the screen. Welcome to your new reality. The words sent a shiver down her spine. Was it a joke? Or was it something worse? Emily's mind raced, trying to make sense of it all, but the unease wouldn't go away. She wasn't free. That house, that mirror, the man, they were real, and they weren't done with her. Strange things began happening in the days that followed. Whispers in the dark, fleeting shadows that disappeared when she turned, and the unmistakable feeling of being watched. No matter where she went, the man's reflection was always there, lurking. As Emily's grip on reality loosened, she realized something terrifying. She had crossed a line, and now there was no way back. The house, the mirror, the man, they weren't just stories. They were part of her, and she was trapped. The game had only just begun. Emily had uncovered the truth, but at what cost? And as the days passed, she found herself questioning if she would ever truly escape the nightmare that had taken root in her life. The house, the mirror, the shadows, they would haunt her forever. And the worst part was knowing that it wasn't over. The terror was just beginning.